These are the charts of Trimble. Now, Trimble is a stock that Cathie Wood has invested in, and it's one of the lesser known companies that's talked about in her portfolio. Now, before we start the analysis, let's look at this article. It is coming from Yahoo Finance. So, Cathie Wood's flagship ETF, ARK Innovation, hit a 52-week high back in late December as investor sentiment has turned favorable for many of the fund's ultra growth holdings. Her funds do very, very well in a lower interest rate environment as she invests in disruptive companies. And typically, disruptive companies, they don't show cash flow growth until they mature. And they need cash to mature. And when interest rates increase, well, that cash costs more upfront. Nevertheless, this article is, and this video is about Trimble, and they provide positioning and workflow technology. What does that all mean? We'll get into it in a second. It is the second largest holding in her ARK Space Exploration ETF, and the fourth largest in her ARK Autonomous Technology and Robotic ETF. So Trimble is one of those companies you may have never heard of since its customers are primarily other businesses, not you and me, but its solutions play pivotal and growing roles in industries around all of us. Company's expertise lies in connecting the physical world with the digital world, which is going to play a bigger and bigger role in all our lives this decade. Now, on the hardware side, Trimble makes displays, guidance controls, steering systems, flow and application controls, and solutions for water monitoring, distribution, and drainage. On the software side, it can manage information across devices, set up field tasks, and field manager tools for easier workflows, and integrate with other third-party solutions. They also have a platform that allows the import and management of files, building models, data analysis, and other tools that help with the construction planning process. The platform assists with cost calculations for better project management. Now let's talk about their earnings. So looking at Trimble's performance in the first 3 quarters of last year, 48% of revenue came from hardware and perpetual software, 48% from subscription and recurring services, and 4% from professional services. That's a big shift away from hardware and toward recurring revenue in the short period. For example, hardware and perpetual software made up 58% of the revenue in 2021 and 54% of revenue in 2022. The business is also diverse geographically. During the first 9 months of the year, 53% of its revenue came from North America, 40% from Europe, Asia Pacific, and the rest of the other regions. All right, Trimble is well positioned to turn things around, but it could take time. The company said that economic conditions worsened in the third quarter and could remain weak for the rest of the year and the beginning of 2024. However, it did lower its expenses in response to lower sales, which should help protect its earnings and margins. Trimble is the kind of investment that should do well over the long term, but it could remain volatile in 2024. Further sell-offs would create even better buying opportunities. But even now, the stock looks like a well-rounded buy with a forward price-to-earnings ratio of under 20. All right, so we're going to start like we usually do with the monthly chart. And you can see this huge hammer candle signifying buyers stepped in and protected the $40 level. So if we can see prices take out, say 55, this would be a big monthly buy level. Now, even if we don't take this out, it's still a monthly buy level. Just the probabilities decrease that this zone is taken out. What I also see is a support resistance band that spans into the monthly zone down at the $45 level. So let's mark that in. Monthly buyers at $42.50. All right, let's take it down a notch. Go down to the weekly chart. It would be nice if this pullback was the beginning of the next impulse move higher. However, what I do see is a rally-based rally. Again, it would have been nice if we would have had closing candles above this $55 level. Nevertheless, I like it as a zone for multiple reasons. And let's mark it as a weekly buyers level at 40, let's say 46.50. So you have this weekly buyer zone on top of a monthly buyer zone. This weekly buyer zone is on top of a support resistance band. You have pivot lows also should serve as support again. Let's drill down to the daily chart. So you could say you have a flip zone here. This was weekly sellers on the way back. The buyers won the battle. Becomes a flip zone. Becomes weekly buyers. You also have price now above the 200-day moving average in yellow. You have your momentum indicators pointing up. It's 13 and the 26 simple daily moving average. You have the 50-day moving average in reds in the weekly buyer zone right now. However, we need to see closes above $55 before we can consider Trimble a stock to put on your radar. You take out $55 and then there's room higher to the next level of interest, and that is the weekly sellers level at $63. So it's safe to say you take out $55, bottom is definitely in. However, even on pullbacks, it is an opportunity to go long. Again, despite it not taking out the $55 level, just look at the volume. You have the rally in, the basing candle, and then the rally out, strong volume. So this would be a B setup, not an A setup, but still a valid setup. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Please like the video.